All right. Hit the record button. Let's get going here. So my name's Carl Willis with Remodeling Marketing Team. I want to welcome you to today's training. We're going to be talking about the new SEO formula for 2023, what is now working. And we want to make sure that your SEO is solid, that your SEO is where it needs to be going forward. There's a lot that has changed in SEO over the last few years. I started doing SEO about 15 years ago and have seen just tremendous changes in this landscape ever since. And so that's what we're going to go through today. We'll be spending about 45 minutes to an hour, just depending on questions we have there at the end. And so with that, let's go ahead and get started. What we're going to be dealing with is SEO. And when we talk about SEO, this is the ecosystem that operates around your website. SEO really is the foundation. That's why in this digital dominance matrix, we have it listed as the number one thing. It's your foundation. It's where you have strong copy and conversion. It's where all of your on-page optimization has to take place. Your link building is going to point to that. All of your citations are going to point to that. Your blogging is a piece of this. Your reputation management is a piece of this. Voice search optimization, something that's, come on very strong in the last few years. That's a part of it as well. And so when we talk about dominating your local market as a home remodeler, as a residential construction company, SEO is always going to be the foundation of it. And once your SEO is solid, as you are ranking, what that's going to do, it's going to lower your cost per lead. It's going to improve your overall lead and new business acquisition. And so it's a critical component to maximizing your profits, increasing your revenues, lowering those costs per leads. And so that's where we're going to take you today. A couple things that I need to get your help with here. First of all, turn off your cell phones for the next few minutes. I know it's tempting to have it on. Turn off Facebook, close out any other screens that you've got open. And if you're a home remodeling or residential construction contractor and you're serious about getting better results, then the next 60 to 90 minutes are going to be really critical for you to advance your business this coming year and throughout the year. So what we're going to cover today is the latest updates with the Google algorithm. We're going to cover the things that you may have actually been doing in the past that could really be hurting you now. And we're going to talk about how to optimize, your website using the new SEO formula. What are the things you really should be doing? What should you be focusing on if you're going to dominate your market from an organic standpoint? Real quickly, who am I? Why should you listen to me? I've been marketing online since 1997. I'm the author of Internet Marketing for Home Remodeling Companies, a creator of the Marketing Classroom, an international keynote speaker on business growth and lead generation, widely accepted as a go-to expert in Internet marketing for home remodeling businesses. And I've worked with companies in the US and internationally. And so that's a little bit of my pedigree, but we're obviously not here to talk about me. Remodeling Marketing Team, we service the home improvement, home construction, residential construction, home remodeling niches. And so these are some of the companies that we currently do work with. And then one of the things you're going to want to take advantage of, you can go ahead and download this at remodelingmarketingteam.com/SEO-checklist. This is the SEO checklist as we're talking through today. These are some points of evaluation that you're going to want to be paying attention to in your own marketing. And let me just say this, when we talk about SEO, although we're focusing on your website, we have to remember there's yet another component to SEO these days that 10 years ago you didn't have to think about, and that is your Google business profile. And so the way you handle SEO is really going to affect both of those properties. And realistically, you want both of those things running in parallel, your website and your business profile. What you'll find is your Google business profile, some of the ranking factors tie into what's happening on your website. And so those two things have to really work hand in hand. But let's just talk about this. Let's answer the question, does SEO still matter? You have so many ways to market a business today. You can use social media. You can be running ads on Google, on Bing, on all of the social media platforms. You can be making TikTok videos. You could be doing YouTube. You could be doing billboards. You could be handing out flyers. There are so many ways to market. The question is, does SEO still matter? Because a lot of people would say, well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to argue that it does, and I'm going to give you some data to back that up. So when we talk about SEO, the first thing we want to look at is just a typical business return here. So this search says home remodeler Wichita, because I'm located in Wichita, Kansas. And so I want you to look at the real estate here. You've got your business listings here on the map. So this is tied into your Google business profile. Then you've got your organic listings here. And depending on the search and where you're located, you're going to have ads up above. You're going to have local service ads even above that. So there's a lot of real estate to cover. But what we find is even when there is ad space available, 71% of the clicks that come to a website or come to a business profile actually come off of these spaces right here. The 3-pack in the Google Maps listing and the first 2 organic positions. And so you really want to dominate in those 2 places. And so why that's important is even though you've got advertisements, local service ads, Google ads that can display above that, the reality is most people want to take a look at that organic result, and that's what they're going to interact with. If we take this just a step further, what you'll find is that 67% of the clicks are going to come off of those first 5 listings. So 71% of the activity is going to go to those 5, meaning people are going to focus on that, go explore more about the business. But 67% of the actual clicks that are going to turn into leads are coming off of these first 5 listings when you're dealing with a search result. So that's critical. We've got to be visible in these key pieces of real estate, and that's why SEO still matters. You can be spending all the money on ads in the world, but if you're not visible organically, you're losing business. And here's the real nuts and bolts of it. When your SEO is dialed in, what's going to happen is you're going to pick up a lot of lead traffic off of that SEO. Here's one of the things that I want you to see. This is a breakdown of a client. They're spending $8,000 a month on all of their marketing. So that includes management fees for us as their marketing agency, plus what they're spending on ads. So what you've got here is they had 417 total leads come in. So they're paying about $19.32 a lead. Out of that, 95 of those leads were organic phone calls, meaning they didn't come out of an ad budget. And then there were 173 Google Maps calls that came out of that. So when you look at their total number of leads that were generated organically, more than half of their leads were organic. The other half, little under half, were paid for. So that's important for you. It's a way to drop those costs per lead acquisition, because you can't rely on local service ads and pay-per-click alone, because half of your lead volume, or more than half, is going to come from that organic result if it's done correctly. And so we really want to maximize search engine optimization. We really want to get that visibility there, because that's going to enhance your lead flow, lower your cost per lead, drive revenue for you. Now, there are 4 big changes that you need to be aware of that have been happening with Google. And so we want to really drive these home. Number 1, you can no longer get away with duplicate content. And let me explain this to you. So 15 years ago, when I first started doing SEO work, what I could do was I could create a 500-word blog post on a website, and then I could go to multiple article directories and repost that same article, link it back to the website. And what would happen is not only would my website rank number one, but then because I had posted all of those articles pointing to the website, those would also rank on page one. So what would end up happening is we could actually own all 10 organic spaces on a Google search just by doing that kind of thing. Well, Google got wise to that. You have to remember, Google makes money by selling information to advertisers. And so when people like us figure out how to move forward in the organic rankings, Google doesn't make as much money because we're not paying for ads. And so what they did is they put out an algorithm update, and it began to penalize duplicate content. And so you lost the power and the momentum that duplicate content created for you. The second thing is low quality links pointed back to your website could hurt you. So if you've gone out to Fiverr and bought a bunch of links, you could be getting penalized for that. That used to be a great way to rank websites, just links pointing from all over the place. Well, Google doesn't like that. And so they created an algorithm change, and what they began to focus on was relevant quality backlinks. They would rather see good relevant links as opposed to a large number of just poor unrelated backlinks that really make no sense. And so that's one of the big changes that's come about. Let me tell you a little horror story with that one. So going back to 2012, I had a personal blog, 20,000 visitors per month coming to that blog, using number one and number two as my method of promoting. And so Google began to release what I call the animal farm. Penguin and Panda, those were the two big updates, and they really went after those two things. And so one morning I woke up and my traffic had dropped from 20,000 visitors to 10,000. And then with the next algorithm change, I found myself at 2,000 visitors, and that site took years to ever recover. So bad links can hurt you. Bad SEO practices can hurt you. Google has given much more clarity in what they're looking for. And so those things in the past, you just can't use anymore, although there are a lot of people who will sell those things to you. Number three, now this is a big one. You need a real physical office to rank well on Google Maps. So pre-COVID, if you had a UPS store box, if you had a virtual office, if you were working out of your house and you just had a separate mailing address, you could rank yourself on your local Google Maps listings just by noting that address. They would send a postcard with a code, you'd enter the code, and you were verified, and now you showed up on those listings. Well, that all changed about a year and a half ago. And nowadays you have to have a real physical office. In fact, they will make you do a live video walkthrough of your office. They have to be able to see the signage on the outside. They have to be able to see the workspace. They have to be able to see what types of equipment you have there. They want to make sure it's a real office. And so that's one of the things that's changed. You need to make sure you have a physical location. If you're thinking about moving locations, just be aware those are some of the things you're going to have to validate when you change that location. And then finally, site speed matters. Google does not like slow websites. The thing they're most interested in is what's called mobile first. They want to see how quickly that website loads on a mobile device, and does that device display correctly when it loads. So site speed has become a big thing because Google does not want lags. And so we'll talk a little more about site speed here in a few moments, but let's get into these a little deeper. You can't get away with duplicate content anymore. So what we have to realize is most home remodeling companies are going to serve a 25 to 50 mile radius. You may have lots of little cities and towns that are in that mix. And it used to be a common practice to set up a page for each city and keep everything the same on that page, but only change the name of the city. So everything was the same, nothing was different, only the city name was in there, only the city name was different. Well, now Google penalizes for that. And so another thing that we saw was a lot of people set up multiple microsites that were targeting different cities with the same content, but then only changing the cities again. So this time they took it off of their site, but they created microsites that all said the same thing, just different city name. Google's penalized that as well. So here's what has to happen. Your pages have to be unique from one page to the next and from one site to the next. So if you've got things that are duplicates, it's going to hurt you. You're going to find yourself losing rankings. And the way you can always tell that Google's making an algorithm change is when you start to notice all the rankings start to move around. We call it the Google dance. It means Google has changed something and everything is in motion. The second thing we just talked about is too many irrelevant, low quality links pointed back to your website. So it used to be links, links, links. Get as many links as you can from as many places as you can pointing back to your website. Well, that can actually hurt you now. The Penguin update addressed that. And again, as I said before, it's all about quality and it's all about relevance. So those links have to be quality. So we'll think about it this way. What Google's looking for is that link coming from a good neighborhood? And then is it relevant? Is it coming from somewhere that would be relevant to you as a home remodeling business or your piece of content that you put out there? So what you're going to have to do is review your link profile from time to time and find the bad links and either have those removed or have those disavowed. You can actually challenge those in Google and say, I had a vendor years ago that did backlinking for me, and we realized these are not good links. We'd like to disavow those, meaning we don't want to be associated with those links. So what you want to work to do is diversify your anchor text and build more high quality, relevant links. And anchor text is simply when you see that link, what is the wording in that link? So again, years ago, 10, 12 years ago, you could have all of your links use the same anchor text and again, own the top spots in Google. You can't do that anymore. They want to see diversity of anchor text and they want those high quality relevant links. And so let me explain what I mean by a high quality relevant link. Google would rather see you have a link from Bing to your website than they would from some article directory somewhere. They consider Bing to be a higher authority, higher usage website. So be thinking about that. What are the quality places you can be going? And then what are the relevant places that you would like links from? So if there is a forum that you're a part of or a particular organization that you're a part of that is industry specific, then getting a link from there is a great thing to have. It's going to help you overall in your link profile. You also need this real physical address to rank well on Google Maps. So the pigeon update, remember I said Google kind of opened the zoo, penguin, panda, pigeon. Pigeon update addressed these local map listings because local businesses were setting up dummy listings with virtual offices, post office boxes with no real physical location. And there were scammers that would do that as well. So it took a major toll on the rankings and on the local business returns for Google. So what Google did is they have moved to, you've got to have a real physical business address in the city that you want to rank in. And they're taking that a step further. They're going to make you do a video walkthrough and prove up that we actually have a location there. So be mindful of that as you're thinking location strategies. And then, as we said, site speed matters. You're able to go to Google, and actually, if you Google this in your search bar, Google Site Speed tool, you can actually type in your website address and it will give you a ranking for site speed. So this is Wichita Homeworks. They have an A in their site speed, and then it's throwing in their vitals, how quickly are different elements of that site loading. So you want to look at that. When you use the site speed tool on Google, it's going to show you both desktop and mobile, so you'll know if you're doing well in both places. Remember, Google's big priority is mobile first. So we see oftentimes companies who have a great speed on their desktop site, but the site is not optimized for mobile. And so they're actually getting penalized overall in their search rankings. Let me give you another example of again, why SEO is so important to you in your lead flow. Now, this particular company spends $24.90 a month on their services. They generated 283 leads during the month. Total cost $8.80 per lead. When you look at where those leads came from, 187 were Google Maps calls, 53 of those were organic phone calls. So they were not having to pay ad spend for that. Now, here's what's interesting, where they were paying ad spend, only 33 calls came out of that. So out of their total lead flow, the majority is coming off of that organic traffic. Now let's talk about what else has changed. Old-fashioned SEO is no longer effective. It doesn't work the way it used to. You have to really position the way Google is wanting you to position in this day and age. In the post-Panda Penguin Pigeon era, user experience is the number one thing. Google wants their customers to have a great experience with that search return. And so this new SEO approach requires a heavy focus on the user experience, making sure your user has a great experience on your site and in the process of getting there. So here's the new ranking factors that you want to be aware of. First of all, click-through rate is key. And what that means is if you've got calls to action, a call to action button or call to action links, is it getting clicked? Are people using that? So the higher you can get that click-through rate, the better. If you saw our last webinar, we talked about conversion rate optimization, and that's what that's all about, getting the page to convert from instead of 2% or 5%, to get it to convert at 25, 30%. Those types of signals, Google's going to pay attention to. Scroll rate is another ranking factor. It's another signal they're looking for. Once somebody lands on your page, are they just bouncing off? Or are they actually scrolling down the page to get more content from that page? Time on your page is a big deal. If the average time on your page is 10 seconds, it's obvious to Google, nobody's paying attention to what's there. And there are some ways to increase that time on page simply by putting the right kind of content in front of the audience. Of course, bounce rate is something we want to watch closely, and bounce rate is simply a person comes to the page, they don't scroll, they don't click, and they leave. They don't go anywhere else on the site. And so when you look at your Google Analytics, there is actually a bounce rate percentage, and you can see what that bounce rate is. We want to see those bounce rates definitely under 50%. Ideally, we'd like to see them in that 10 to 15% range. Number of citations, reviews, and relevant links. Let's talk about that for a minute. Citations are other business directories that provide the same name, address, and phone number information as your website and your Google business profile. And when I say the same, I mean the same as in if on your Google business profile, it says street spelled out STREET, and these other directories have it as ST period, that creates a trust issue with Google. So we want to make sure that everything matches up. We want to make sure that there are reviews. The current pace of reviews that we're recommending to our clients is try to get a new review every 2 weeks. And in those reviews, ask your clients, your customers, to write a paragraph about what kind of services they had with you. I was so happy with the bathroom remodeling job that XYZ company did. We love showing off our bathroom to our friends and family. That's a great review. And then finally, relevant links. Are those links coming into you? Are they relevant to your business? You as a home remodeling company or a residential construction company, the last thing Google wants to see is that you're getting links from a footwear website or from a laundry soap website, something totally unrelated. The more related it is, the better off you are. And then again, we want to look at page speed. Is your website fast? Do people have to wait for it to load, or as soon as they click over, does it come right up? That's what Google's looking at, a good user experience for the end user. Now, here's the formula that we want to start working through. Number one, figure out what the most important keywords are based on your service area, and by search volume. So everything should be a keyword. Be thinking keywords. What are people searching? How are they searching? Why are they searching? And begin that process. Now, there's a couple of tools that are going to help you with that. Number one, the Google Keyword Tool. WordStream is another good one. SpyFu is one that we actually use here in our agency because it'll tell us what our competitors are doing SEO on and what they're spending money for ads on. And so it's a good place for us to figure those things out. And then, of course, Google AdWords has a great keyword research platform as well. Secondarily, behind that, you want to set up a great website. You want to make sure that you have unique pages targeting your most valuable keywords. And when I say your most valuable, it's not always your most traffic keywords. It's actually your most profitable keywords. So part of what we're looking for is what I call those buyer words versus the window shopper words. Window shopper words will get you a lot of traffic. Buyer words will get you people who are ready to pay you money. And that's what we want to focus on. And so things that we want to be considering when we're looking at our keywords, some of those buyer keywords are things like specials, discounts, reviews, any of those types of things. Somebody's a little deeper in the buying cycle. Estimate is another one. So any of those types of things are great keyword add-ons that are going to take you to somebody who's a little deeper in their buying process. You want pages for each service and you want pages for each city. You want to optimize your website for your user experience. And you want to optimize your site for SEO, and that's your on-site optimization. This is the more technical side of things, making sure you have all the right tags, making sure everything with an image has alternative text. All of those are important things. And then you want to build authority, off-site optimization. This is, if you will, votes for your website from other websites. And so that's what linking is all about. And then, of course, you want to track your results. Know where you started, know where your rankings are moving. Always have an update of how many of your keywords are ranking on page one. Know what you rank best for, what you don't rank well for. All of those are things that you're going to want to pay attention to. So let's take a few minutes and a few takeaways for you. Number one, make a few notes. What have you learned so far? And feel free to throw a comment in the chat as well. If there's something that's kind of stood out to you, what's one thing you've learned? Second thing is, what did you notice as you look at maybe your own website, your own Google business profile, some of your competitors? What are you noticing? And is there anything you'd like to share? So I'll give you a moment there to add something into the chat window. And if I don't see anything come up, then we'll just move right on. You can also feel free to unmute yourself too, if there's anything you'd like to pinpoint here. All right, well, let's move on then here. So let's talk through home remodeling keywords. And here's some keywords that you're going to want to be thinking about. Traditionally, we would do the your city things. But now one of the things we need to think about, even more importantly, is near me. As you're doing your search engine optimization, as you're doing your Google business profile optimization, one of the things you're going to want to be thinking about is near me searches, home remodeling contractors near me, kitchen remodeling contractors near me, bathroom remodeling contractors near me, basement remodeling near me. And then you want to do the same searches with your city. Home remodeling contractors, Wichita, Kansas, bathroom remodeling contractors, Wichita, Kansas. So go down that list, but here's why we want those near me searches. One of the things that you have, oh, great question. So let me finish this thought and I'll jump to that. So the question is how to write unique pages for many cities within your territory. So great question, and we'll jump on that one here. So when you're thinking about your near me searches, the reason for that is one of Google's big algorithm updates last year was location-based searches in the Google Maps listings. And they really did two of them last year. The first one was proximity. So if I was searching for taco shops near me, that algorithm literally was to find from where I sit to the next location that is a taco shop. That will be my results. Of course, what they realized is really what the consumer is asking is, who are the best taco shops near me? What are the good taco shops near me? So then Google made a change to where it's not just location based, but it's also based on your reviews and your actual performance as a business. And so now it's ranking as who's the best closest to me. And so that's where these near me searches come in. So great question. Let's answer that. How do you write unique pages for many cities within a territory? One of the things that I would suggest you do is this is a great place to think a little bit about those locations, what makes them unique. One of the things you might do is you might refer to kind of that city's personality, if you will. So for example, here in Wichita, one of our suburbs is Derby. Derby is separated from Wichita by an Air Force base, and a lot of the people that live in Derby are military people. So that might be part of what you build into that territory page is Derby, Kansas is a home to many military families stationed at McConnell Air Force Base. Many are first-time homeowners or long-term homeowners. If you're wanting to get additional value out of your home, consider our company for your home remodeling needs, something of that nature. Now, that's first way you go about it. The next way you could go about that is, and this will be next month's webinar, so I'm giving you a little teaser. We're going to talk about how to use artificial intelligence to help you write that content. One of the great things that has happened here in the last couple of months is Google has given the thumbs up to AI produced content as long as it's good. And so you could use artificial intelligence to help you write that. Simply say, I need a web page for a home remodeling company that services customers in this particular city, and let the artificial intelligence write at least an outline of that for you that you can work off of, if not the whole thing. Now, I will tell you, we tend to take the preference of we might use AI to build the initial framework of that page, but we're still going to have a human writer do most of the writing for those pages. Simply because we want to make sure they're unique. We want to make sure that the information's accurate, but we'll certainly use the AI to create a framework for that. And that's probably the way I would direct that. That'll expedite things for you, make it a lot easier. The other thing you could do if you don't have a human writer that could fine tune that for you is you could have the artificial intelligence write those pages and then just run them through a program like Copyscape to make sure that they're unique. And again, just double check and make sure the information's accurate. And so that'd be an easy way to go about that. I think you're going to see that become more of the trend in the days ahead, especially if you've got a lot of cities in your territory. That's probably the best way to tackle it. If you're in a Dallas-Fort Worth type scenario where you've got lots of little cities through there, then that's probably the better way to go about that. Hopefully that answers your question. All right, let's talk through on-site optimization. When we're dealing with on-site optimization, now we're dealing with the technical side of things that Google's going to see. And at the same time, this is going to improve our user experience as well. So first of all, we just want a strong website that has great content and just a great experience overall. You know, some people try to develop websites just for SEO purposes, but they're terrible user experiences. And what we really want to do is have a strong website that is enjoyable to both your user and valuable to them. And then also Google values it as well. And then of course, we want to set it up to convert well. You want to leverage multimedia to improve your page time. So this is one of the great things you can do on page is put some type of media on there that keeps people on the page longer. A video on your landing page is always a good thing. Or if you're doing any kind of podcasting or broadcasting, and you can put those things on your page, be sure to do that. But video is really the great way to stop people, keep them on the page for a while, and increase that time on page number that Google sees. Create pages for each of your services, create pages for the cities that you're serving, have unique content, and use things like Nearby Now to bring heat map data to your city pages. And what that simply means is you're going to use a tool to show you where people are really looking, where they're exploring, so you can beef up those pages, make them more user palatable, keep that person on the page longer. You want to have unique content on every page, no duplicates. You know, if you've got pages that are going to have something kind of similar, really take the time to make sure that they're distinctive enough that they don't appear to be duplicate. Make sure you have a keyword in the title and the H1. Now, this is a really critical thing that we see on a lot of websites. A lot of websites, that title tag is the company name, but doesn't have any location data and doesn't have any keywords in there. We'd a whole lot rather see you use one of your highly profitable keywords with your location as your title tag, and then, you know, put a hyphen or a pipe in there, and then your company name behind it. You also want to do that with your H1, which is your main heading on your homepage of your website. Remember that the meta description is important for Google as well, but really the meta description sells the click. And so Google will read that information, but really that's for the person who lands on your organic listing and sees it in the Google results. And it gives them a little snippet as to why they should click on your link and be in contact with you. Your name, address, and phone number need to be in the footer, and you need to make sure that that matches up to your Google business profile, name, address, and phone number information. You want to have a blog with ongoing updates, and then you want to syndicate that blog. So a great way to blog as a home remodeler is just to post blog posts relating to some of the projects that you're working on. Here's our latest kitchen remodel. Here's a video walkthrough. Here's where we started. Here's where we ended up. Here's some of the steps we took. That is great content to feed the search engines. And then you want to syndicate that, push that out to your Facebook, to your LinkedIn. If it's got images, push those out to Instagram, any of the other places that you may be doing any marketing. And then, of course, you want to push those things into your Google business profile as well. And you also want to have, content on your Google business profile, pictures and articles, things of that nature. So like I said, you're going to run those two things in parallel. And then, of course, focus on your page speed, both mobile and desktop. But mobile first is the way Google's going to look at your pages. Again, just another little case study for you here. Leads via search engine optimization. This company spends $3,310 a month on their SEO work every month. They had 367 leads via SEO, paying $9.02 per lead on average. And a little more of a breakdown, they had 1,166 organic searches, 329 organic phone calls, 36 Google Maps calls. So you can see what their metrics looked like. Average session duration, 1:18. So they're keeping people on the page. Bounce rate's about 57, 58%. So they're keeping, about a third of the people from bouncing, scrolling around. That's not a bad number to see. And then let's talk a little further too about, what difference this makes is when we've got that SEO dialed in, we're going to start to own these top spots on the page. And that's really what we want. So, Wichita Homeworks up here, #1 on the maps. If you're looking at the map, you're going to see them here. And they're actually #3 on the main listings underneath. Just to give you an idea, they also run ads and they run Google local service ads. So they actually show up 4 different times on the Google results page when you pull a search. And so those are the kinds of things that we want to see. This high visibility is going to draw a lot of attention to you. I was pulling up their stats for April. They had almost 2,000 interactions with their business profile so far this month. And Wichita, Kansas is not a large area. It's roughly 600,000 people. So just bear in mind, there's a lot of power to getting this right. Just another example for you, another case study. This is a company that's spending $3,088 a month on their SEO work and their ad spend. Total leads is 410, average cost per lead, $7.53. Their organic phone calls, they had 151, and they had 170 Google Maps calls. So again, more than, almost 2/3 of their leads are organically driven. All that pay-per-click is doing is driving the top end and keeping things going while the SEO takes hold and ramps up. So any takeaways you had there, write those down. What did you notice? If there's anything you'd like to share, put that in the comments. If there's any questions you have, put that in the comments, and then we'll move on. We'll break down those areas a little further. All right, let's keep going. Off-page SEO. You want to claim and optimize your Google My Business listing. And when we talk about claiming it, you'd be amazed at how many businesses haven't claimed their business profile. It's on Google because that data has been scraped from other sources, but the owner of the company has never claimed the business profile. So make sure you've got it claimed. Second thing is to optimize that business profile. And here's why optimizing the business profile is so critical, is because Google's going to read that information. The more information you can give Google to read, the better your business profile is going to perform. Then you want to get, and let me back up to that for a second as well. So if you see a category that Google offers you, questions and answers, products, services, holiday hours, any of those things, make sure you utilize every space on that business profile. It's going to help you in the long run. You want to get lots of citations across the web. Make sure there are lots of other directories pointing to your Google business profile that have identical information. And remember what I said, identical information means if your Google business profile says street and it's spelled out S-T-R-E-E-T, then every other directory needs to have the exact same information. No abbreviations, needs to say the same thing. You want to build up online reviews, and there are some tools to help you do that. You can use tools like Nearby Now, Bird Eye, Review Buzz. Those will all help you garner more reviews. Simply ask for those reviews. Another strategy that we use with some of our clients is we'll develop a postcard with a QR code or a flyer with a QR code that they can simply hand to their clients at the end of the project, and it takes them straight to a Google review page. So you want to work on that as well. Obviously, Google will also read your Facebook reviews. So anytime you get a Google review, good thing to go out to Facebook as well. Build authoritative links back to your website from other websites. Just make sure they're quality, make sure they're relevant. And then use strategic content syndication. What's going to get your information in front of your best audience? And how are we going to do that in such a way that Google takes notice of it as well? And so relevant, high authority sites are great places to send your content to. Not to mention all of your social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, any other place that you have a social presence, be sure and do that. Now, here's the next thing. A simple blog post on your site won't cut it anymore. As I said to you earlier, 10 or 12 years ago, you could do a 500-word blog post, and that was going to carry you all the way to the top of page one. Doesn't work that way anymore. Nowadays, what Google is looking for is high authority pieces of content. And so when we talk high authority pieces of content, there's some things we need to understand. What Google is looking for is authority signals. So Google's algorithm works on what's called EAT, E-A-T, experience, authority, and trust. And so we need to create signals for authority. And there's a couple of ways we do that. We want to use content marketing to build using this EAT principle to obtain better visibility. And so let me explain how you do that. To satisfy the search algorithm's hunger for EAT, you've got to have expertise. So quality, structured, media-rich content. Pictures are great, videos are great. And when we talk about authoritative content, here's the sweet spot that we have found. And this is what we utilize in our own business and with our clients. And those are 2,000-word blog posts. 2,000 seems to be a sweet spot. There's enough content there to really demonstrate authority. If we are putting some pictures in with that, if we are putting some video in with that, it's going to increase that authority. And what will happen is that piece of authority gets picked up and rebroadcast other places. It's linked to as an authority article from other places, and that's critical. And the second piece of this authority is where you syndicate and publish to. So one of the great things you can do for your business is look for press release worthy items that you can then write a press release for and syndicate out. What will happen when you do that, the press release syndication networks, oftentimes your article, your content, your press release will get picked up by television stations, newspapers, media outlet channels, which then allows you to utilize this published or as seen on ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, etc. type label. You've probably seen that on some websites before. And then, of course, trust. You want to pass trust in PageRank with link signals and implied trust. And so there's some ranking factors that go into that, but I want you to see this on Google My Business. The top signals are proximity, categories, and a keyword in the business title, etc. Link signals are linking domain authority and linking domain quantity, etc. So those are the two biggies. For local organic ranking factors, link signals is 27.94% of the equation. And on-page signals, the presence of a name, address, and phone number, keywords in the title, domain authority accounts for 26%. So those two things right there are nearly half of the search ranking equation. So these are critical factors you want to pay attention to. We have this SEO periodic table, and feel free to grab a screenshot of that if you want to. At the top of the page, the number one thing, the number one element is quality content. If your content is terrible, if it doesn't help your customer, your prospect, then it's of no value to your search engine rankings either, because your bounce rate's going to be high. Signals are going to show that it's just not quality content. So here's the things that we want to look at. Content is good, research is good, keywords good, your mobile architecture, your data crawling architecture. So this is going to be your tags, your alt titles, those types of things. Good titles, good descriptions, good structure, good headings, good authority, good value, all of those types of things. Is it in your country? Is it in the local area? What's the user experience like? Here's the ones that we want to stay away from. Cloaking. Are you using redirect links that cloak to something else? That's a no-no. Keyword stuffing is a no-no. Hiding keywords used to be a thing where you'd put keywords in white typeface on a white background so the user couldn't see it, but Google could see it. That's a no-no. If it's overly intrusive, that's a no-no. A couple things that Google loves to see: privacy statement, terms of use statement. Those are all helpful. Today's world, you probably also want to have a disability statement. It talks about what you're doing to make the site more user-friendly for those who have disabilities. And then you've got some emerging fields that we're really seeing accelerate. Voice is a huge one. Voice engine optimization is something we focus on because approximately 50% of search now is voice activated. You have your local search, what's in the proximity based on where you're making that search. Image and video, of course, have their own ranking factors. You can rank both of those things. The other thing you need to bear in mind with SEO these days is not only is it location-based, but it's behavior-based. And so Google is looking at the behavior of the person doing the search just as much as they're looking at location and the factors on your website or your Google business profile. So you really want to match up to your customer avatar. The more you understand your best customer, the more you're going to be able to match up to them with the search engine. Now, a couple of other factors for you here. Page quality rating. Here's the most important factors. The purpose of the page. Why is it there? What's it about? What are you trying to convey? What's the message of the page? What's the information that you're putting forth? The expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness of the page. This is critical. This is what Google is basing everything on. The main content quality and the amount of content. And so it should be based on the content of the landing page. Too little is not a good thing. Too much, if done incorrectly, can be problematic as well. The website information about who is responsible for the main content. And so you can find information about the website as well as the creator of the content. So an about page is always a good thing to have. A little bit about your company, a little bit about who's doing the writing, those types of things. In fact, Google is now moving to authorship, something that they had tested in the past, but it's becoming more pronounced. If you're using a WordPress website, you can actually set up authorship for all of your content, and Google will be able to read that information. And then, of course, the website reputation, who is responsible for that main content, and then links to help do reputation research are also provided, because people want to know, do I know you? Do I like you? Do I trust you before they want to do business with you? And then for local SEO, here's some other factors we have to consider. Proximity. How close is the place of business to the person who is doing the search? So you want to use zip codes, you want to use geo coordinates in your content. The rest is out of your hands, but this is important. Take lots of pictures when you're out on job sites, when you're out on projects, because Google is going to geotag, or excuse me, not Google, but your phone is going to geotag those photos. And then when you upload them to your business profile, you now have geolocation information on your content. That's going to help Google figure out where you're most suited location-wise. Relevance. How relevant is the search term for the business? Optimized content, non-page signals, use of business categories in your content, section headings, niche citations, and review velocity. Like I said, what we're seeing these days, Google really loves one new review every 2 weeks is a great pace. And then prominence. What is the authority of the local business? What are the expertise, authority, and trust profiles? Brand mentions, link signals, numbers of reviews versus your competition. Using syndication will drastically improve the prominence of your business over a 3 to 6 month period. And so you want to make that something that you're doing on a fairly regular basis. And here's the difference doing all of that makes. This is Wichita Homeworks for the search term home remodeling. Like I said, Wichita Homeworks serves the Wichita area. It's about 600,000 people. So this map grid, each one of these dots is a location-based search, and they're spread out on a 2-mile grid. And so, 2 miles between points. And so here's the coverage. And if you'll notice, they are in the top 1, 2, or 3, every location, except this one, they're number 4. But the majority of the metropolitan area, they're number 1 or 2. A few little outliers as you get towards the western edge of the city. This is the kind of thing that takes place when you get everything right in your Google business profile, in your website SEO, in your off-page SEO. You're going to drive a ton of traffic simply off of that organic presence. And as I said, their Google business profile as of this month, they are right at about 2,200 interactions, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood, over 2,000 anyway, all organic. So that's a good driver of business for them. A couple things here. On page, you want pages for each service, kind of encapsulating this for you, and your main cities. You want to optimize your titles, H1s, URLs, images, etc. Create unique content for each page. On your Google business profile, claim and optimize your map listing, add yourself to Yext or some other citation management program. Add yourself to the major data aggregators like Data Axle is one of those. Yext is another one. You want to put a system in place for driving online reviews, whether that's automated or in-house, and then add new citations on an ongoing basis. Keep building out your directory universe. On your content, push new blog posts out and syndicate via some type of signal engine. There are plenty of syndication tools out there to help you do that. I would recommend that you're putting out at least one new piece of blog content a month, if not a little more frequently. But if you're doing at least once a month, Google will see that the site is staying active, that the information is current and relevant. Signals that you want to leverage. We want to show off your expertise, authority, and trust. You want to have multiple do-follow links back to the client's website, GMB listing, and internal pages on the client site. So what that means is if we're pushing back to your website, your Google business listing, your internal pages, when we create backlinks from these authoritative places, whether that be an association or something related to your industry, you want to push those to the website, your business listing, and internal pages on your website. Embed maps to your location so people can find you. Map embeds are a great tool for ranking. We use those quite strategically. And then fresh content on your site on a regular basis. Make sure that you're keeping it up to date, up to speed. Nobody wants to go and find information that's 5 years out of date. Now, here's the encapsulation of the formula. We're getting ready to land the plane here. Set up a great website with pages that have each of your services and for each of the cities that you serve. Get your keywords and your geo modifier in the title page of each page. use unique content on every page, leverage multimedia to enhance the time on page and reduce the bounce rate, get online reviews across the web, Facebook and Google being the two primary, build your citations and do that consistently, post updated content on an ongoing regular basis, continue building your links and authority on a regular basis, and then leverage page search to identify your high converting keywords and use page search for two purposes: for extra top end, and then as your SEO is taking place. If you are not ranking well right now, you're going to need page search to make up the traffic volume until your SEO takes hold. Be sure and download the SEO checklist at this link here. Check off the things that you've got. And then any takeaways? What'd you learn? What'd you notice? Anything you'd like to share? If you've got questions, go ahead and fire those out there. All right, well, landing the plane here. If you need some help, just type "let's talk" in the comments and I'll get you scheduled on the calendar with me. And then also want to offer you this. We do have a free SEO review for you. You can schedule on our calendar, just in the notes, make notes that you'd like the SEO review. And what we'll do is Jason Crabtree, our SEO strategist, will be on that call with you. And we'll go over your current online visibility, what's lacking, what needs to be improved, and give you a path forward on that. And with that, that's the end of our webinar today. Any questions that you have that I can answer for you here in the next 5 minutes or so? All right, looks like we don't have any questions at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and shut down our webinar and stop the recording. And I appreciate you taking some time out today. Thanks for being a part of this, and feel free to reach out to us if we can help you with anything else.